Hey everyone, it's been a while. I'm back and I actually have something very special to show today. So recently I went to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Championships, the YCS, that took place in Richmond. It was the 300th YCS. Now, funny enough, I actually had never been to a YCS before. I've followed Yu-Gi-Oh! My entire life pretty much, but never actually attended any of these events. The closest was like I went to a regional in middle school, I think, but I actually didn't play in the event. I met up with some fellow content creators who were there to play some Domain, and I brought a Domain deck with me that I was actually pretty happy about, and I got some fun comments on as we were playing. I thought I'd showcase exactly what a Domain deck can look like when you're just having fun with it. Now, I will warn ahead of time, this is like a clown car of a deck. Like, it absolutely can be optimized better than where it is right now. See this as sort of a starting point if you have some crazy idea in your head what it can look like. So yeah, I'm going to show you the deck list now. So the deck master that we chose for this Domain deck is Crusadia Maximus. There he is. I put a little of the camera first. Crusadia Maximus. So Crusadia Maximus is a light psychic monster and also part of the Crusadia archetype. So that's my Domain, light psychic Crusadia. So we're gonna put him over to the side and just as a reminder of everything that's in the deck. There we go, next to Giratina, they're friends. And like I said, this deck is pretty all over the place. So I'm actually going to go through one engine at a time. We're going to start off with the Crusadia cards. So since we have Maximus, I figured it would be fun to do a little bit of link climbing with the Crusadia monsters. We have Reclusia as a good removal card. You can special it to a link zone, link monster points to Arborea, who, while it does the same thing, all the Crusadia monsters do this, and while it is in the graveyard, it can banish itself to protect a Crusadia monster you control that would be destroyed by a battle or card effect. And Crusadia Draco, when it is special summoned, can add a Crusadia monster from graveyard back to hand. And I should also mention that Maximus does the same thing, obviously. They all special summon from the hand to a link zone. But Maximus can double the battle damage dealt by a Crusadia monster besides himself for the turn. So that's used to buff up the threatening potential of a link monster later on. So the main idea with the Crusadias is you summon one, you link it off into Crusadia Maximus. Maximus here is a link 1, points down, and if the monster is special summoned to its arrow, you can search a Crusadia from your deck to your hand. So a basic combo is you summon a Crusadia monster, special summon another one to the zone right here, and then you get to add another Crusadia and kind of keep link climbing. So with Magius there, you can then link up into Regulus. Regulus says when a monster is summoned to its link arrow, you can add a Crusadia spell or trap from your deck to your hand. That is actually the next card I'm going to show, which is Crusadia Revival. So Revival is a bit weird. It says Crusadia Link monsters you control gain 500, and you can target a Crusadia Link monster you control. This turn, it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and all other monsters you control cannot attack. This is to be a bit overkill and attack a bunch of monsters at once. However, after playing this, I will say you probably shouldn't play Crusadia Revival. Crusadia Power is a quick play spell that lets you protect your Crusadia Link monster from card effects during that turn. And because the one you're summoning already has a lot of protection on it, it's more of a safeguard. This is very win more, and a lot of the time your monster doesn't even get to do anything when you go this route. So I would say replace the power. But yeah, so that's the Crusadia stuff. Next, we have Eldritch the Golden Lord. Now, anyone who has played this guy right here, Eldritch the Golden Lord, he is crazy. So he, in the graveyard, can send a spell or trap card you control to the graveyard to put himself back into the hand, then special summon any zombie from your hand to the field, boost its attack by 1,000, and then until the end of your opponent's next turn, it cannot be destroyed by card effects. What's really funny about this is in Domain, you get to choose the opponent that the end phase refers to. So you can choose the person who's the furthest away from you for going on their turn, meaning that for all of your opponent's turns, when Eldritch brings itself back to the hand and then summons itself, boosted by 1,000, it's unaffected by destruction effects for all 3 opponents' turns. Unsurprisingly, I'm playing the suite of Eldritch spell cards. We have Elixir of White Destiny, we have Black Awakening, the Cursed Eldland, which can search out any of them, Hokero of the Golden Land, Elixir of Scarlet Sanguine, Conquistador of the Golden Land, so we should put those together, and then the new one, Elixir of the Glorious Golden Land. The gist of these cards is that the Eldlixirs, Black and Scarlet, these two, can summon Eldritch from deck. White Destiny can summon it from grave. Cursed Eldland searches Eldritch the Golden Lord, or one of your golden land traps from deck to hand. The golden land monsters here, well, they're traps, but they summon themselves as monsters and have an extra bonus effect if Eldritch is on the field. It's very useful. This new Eldlixir can recur a lot of your golden land or Eldlixir cards. It can set them from your banished face down, and in Domain it's very important to have recycling cards like this. This engine is a bit tricky because a lot of the cards really want you to have Eldritch in rotation, so if your opponent does something like banish the Eldritch, suddenly you're not really able to take advantage of this the way that you would like to. So it's a bit risky, but overall very powerful recursive engine that gives you bodies, and it's actually funny because a lot of these spells and traps have uses outside of just comboing with Eldritch himself. Next, we have the White Forest monsters. We have a Stellar of the White Forest, we have Elzette of the White Forest, Rishia of the White Forest, and Sylvie of the White Forest. The level 4s are tuners, and the level 2s are non-tuners. The level 2s get you more White Forest monsters from your deck to your hand, and the level 4s get you card advantage. So Sylvie will search a White Forest spell or trap, and Rusha will let you send spells and traps you have in your hand or field to the graveyard to draw cards. And the White Forests pair very well with the Eldritch cards because all of the Eldlixirs and Golden Land cards, when they're in the graveyard, can banish themselves to set the opposite kind of card from your deck, which fuels the White Forest effects. So it's a cute little synergy that you have there. But if you don't have the Eldlixir or Golden Land cards, you do have Tales of the White Forest and Witch of the White Forest and Rose of the White Forest. More ways to get access to your White Forest monsters from your deck. Now, what's so important about getting these monsters is that you access some very powerful synchros with these cards. Those being Silvera. Silvera, Wolftamer of the White Forest, is very cool. It flips an opponent's field entirely face down and then lets you attack into their defense position monsters with piercing damage. And all the White Forest monsters get that benefit. Rochella will search a light spellcaster monster from your deck to your hand, and illusion spellcaster synchro monsters you control gain 500 and can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects, so even more destruction protection. Oh, and also Silvera gives that boost as well, so both of them can boost your White Forest monsters to be bigger than they're supposed to be normally. And finally, the Queen herself, Diabel, Queen of the White Forest. She is awesome. If you summon her with a Synchro Tuner, which are these two, you can add any spell card from your graveyard back to your hand, which is just crazy in a game where the long-term matters like Domain. She also, during an opponent's turn, quick effect, can special summon either one of these two from anywhere. It summons from graveyard, banish, or extra deck for free. And then during their turn, flipping their monster's face down can disrupt a play. This can provide protection to your board. Nuts card, one of my favorite cards ever printed. Back to the main deck. At this point, I doubt many of you are expecting the next thing I'm about to show, but we have Saravis, the Ancient and Ascended, and Saphira, Divine Dragon of the Voiceless Voice. Yes, we are playing Voiceless Voice in this deck. Remember, this is all light so far. Everything in this deck is light that I've shown you. So the gist of what these cards do is Saravis, while it's in the hand, can discard itself to protect one of your monsters from a targeting effect, and while it's on the field, it can return itself back to the hand to negate the special summon of a monster. Saphira, if ritual summoned, can let you discard a card and draw two. It, during the end phase of any opponent's turn, lets you return a light monster from your graveyard back to your hand. So summoning this out when you have a graveyard full of light monsters, opponent ends a turn, add a light monster back. Other opponent ends a turn, light monster adds back to hand. It's a very interesting card. And also, it doesn't come up as often, but if an attack is declared with a Voiceless Voice monster, you can discard a card from your opponent's hand. If you were truly committed to the Voiceless Voice stuff, you'd probably be playing Skull Guardian as well. I'm not playing it. I wanted to stick to these two specifically for reasons you're going to see, but I totally could see playing Skull Guardian. We have Lo, we have Saphira, regular Saphira, we have Saravis, like regular old man Saravis. We're going to come back to this guy later. And then we have Diviner of the Herald, who, no shocker to anyone watching, we are in the extra deck playing a Herald of the Arclight to then send with the Diviner to get a free search of a ritual monster or ritual spell. speaking of ritual spells, we do play the prayers. This card's a little weird. You don't frequently actually want to play this from hand to special one of these. It has a graveyard effect that lets you special them for free from deck, which is pretty useful. You mostly care about its synergy with Saphira here. Bury the Voiceless Voice is a way to protect your monsters that aren't your ritual Voiceless Voices, right? This makes it so that if you have one of them on the field, they got to be attacked first and your other guys can't be. Blessing is a crazy cool card, allowing you to target a Voiceless Voice card, banished or in your graveyard, and add it back to your hand. It also is a pseudo ritual summon card. It doesn't literally have the ritual symbol on it, but it does let you ritual summon. Okay, that's cute and everything. What does that have to do with the rest of the deck so far? The answer is not much. I mean, Eldritch has a really high level for you to tribute for these cards, but it's not really entirely synergistic. But there is a really cool thing that I kind of put together here to take advantage of the fact that I'm playing them. So remember this guy, Saravis Dragon Sage, okay? So I'm going to read you what he does exactly, okay? Saravis Dragon Sage of Voiceless Voice says, you can special summon it from your hand by shuffling 2 spells from your hand or graveyard into the deck. Firstly, really cool to have a recycling ability like that in Domain. If you have spells in your graveyard that you want to put back in your hand, this is a good way to do it. But if an opponent activates a card or effect at any point, Saravis Dragon Sage of Voiceless Voice can bounce itself back to the hand and special a light ritual monster, either a warrior or a dragon, from your hand or deck, but shuffle it back into the deck during the end phase of the next turn. Interesting. Okay, so the question then becomes, how does it even get on the field in the first place to then return itself to the hand to do that, right? You do this during one of your opponent's turn, it goes back to the hand, you summon a guy, that's not bad, but we can do better. Insert Starry Night package. Yes, you heard me correctly. Starry Night Raviel, Starry Night Orbitael, Starry Night Ceremony, Starry Night Balefire, and Starry Night Arrival. Okay, so for most of you who have never heard of these cards in your life, Starry Knights are an archetype that is based around level 7 dragon light monsters, like our friend Saravis here. Level 7 dragon light monsters. I think I called him Rabiel earlier. It's Rael here. Rael, when normal summon, can add a Starry Night spell trap from deck to hand. Then you can banish it from your graveyard, target a Starry Night monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So it can add Balefire. Balefire can search a Starry Night or a level 7 light dragon monster. So that can search either of your rituals, or it can search Saravis. Orbitael says, quick effect, you can target a light monster you control, tribute it, and if you do, set a Starry Night spell trap directly from your deck. So you really can just normal summon this, tribute it off, and then set one of these two. Is another way to get access. So both of these cards can tutor these two cards right here. Orbitael also says, if a face-up level 7 dragon monster you control returns to the hand while it's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. That combos very well with what Saravis is already going to be doing. If your opponent activates a card effect ever, bounce it back to your hand. Saravis already is going to bounce itself back to the hand. The ritual Saravis adds back to the hand to negate special summons. So Orbitael is going to be coming back pretty easily, and then if it does do that, you can use it for material for an extra deck summon or tribute it off and get one of these. So what do these do? Well, they both do something similar. Ceremony lets you, during the main phase, reveal a light fairy monster in your hand to add a level 7 dragon monster from your deck to your hand, then place the revealed monster on the bottom of your deck. There aren't many light fairies in this deck, ironically enough. You could probably up the count to make this engine a little more consistent, but it is possible to do that. But the important part of this card is, if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon one level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. You can only use that once per turn. But that means that if you have Saravis on the field, right, it bounces itself back to the hand, you special summon one of these, right? You can then use Ceremony to special Saravis again. It comes back to the field, and it's 2800, right? So it sits there, meaning that on another opponent's turn, you can bounce it again to bring out one of these. And remember, the monster that Saravis summons from your deck with its effect gets shuffled back into your deck during the end phase of the next turn. So think about this in domain terms. It's your turn, you get Saravis out. Your opponent goes, you use its effect, summon one of the rituals. That person ends their turn. The next person you goes on their turn. At the end of their turn, your ritual gets special shuffled back. That means that when that third opponent goes, you are then able to summon the monster that you just shuffled back to the field, assuming it wasn't outed some other way. And Starry Night Arrival basically does the exact same thing, just as a continuous trap. You target a level 7 light dragon you control, returns to the hand, or you can special summon a level 7 light dragon monster from your hand. It's a cute combo. I do think that there's probably some more work that it could use in order to make it a bit more of an efficient engine, but I think the concept is very cute. Next, we have one of my favorite archetypes of all time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Art-wise, effect-wise, and just, synergy. This is the first area where we're getting into non-light monsters. It is the Psychic archetype, Punk. So we got Zeamin, we have Madam Spider, we have Wagon, and then we have Foxitude, who is a light and not a psychic, so she still does fit in. All three of these monsters basically do the same thing. You pay 600 life points, Zeamin adds a punk monster, Madam Spider adds a punk trap, Wagon adds a punk spell, and then Foxitude can discard itself and another card from your hand to special any punk monster from your deck. So very synergistic with the cards that we want in the graveyard that we were seeing earlier. You also have Emergency Teleport to tutor out one of the punk level 3s to get its effect more often. We also have the Punk Jam Extreme Session. This card lets you banish a punk card in your graveyard, special summon a punk monster from your hand. That doesn't come up that often in this deck. It's not very punk heavy, but it is cool to have the potential to have another summon to keep going. But more importantly, while this is on the field, every time a punk monster pays life points to activate its effect, you can draw an extra card. A lot of the time, I just go through this engine one time to get to some powerful extra deck monsters and get some extra draws off the field spell. And then lastly, the trap card, Jirori Punk Dangerous Garu. This is basically infinite impermanence. You target an opponent's monster to get its effects, and if you control a punk when you do it, you gain life points equal to that monster's attack. A little tech card I'm running is Teleport Fusion. It lets you fusion summon a Psychic Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing Psychic monsters from your field or graveyard. And if a face-up Psychic monster you control that was special from the extra deck is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this from your graveyard, target one of your banished Psychic monsters, special back to the field. So it offers recursion, but it's also a way to pretty easily Miracle Fusion out a powerful extra deck monster. So, to sort of show this off, the monsters that are associated with the punks in this deck are Silent Psychic Magician, Serene Psychic Sorceress, who can pay 1,000 to set either Emergency Teleport or Teleport Fusion. Psychic and Punisher, crazy endgame boss, does so much damage. If you have less life points to your opponent, it is unaffected by your opponent's card effects, and you can pay 1,000 to banish a card of the field, and when you go to battle phase, it gains attack equal to the difference in you and your opponent's life points. It is a game ender, hence why it's called End Punisher. But the fusion monster that we're going to be summoning off of Teleport Fusion is Axon Kicker Oracle. After this card is fusion summoned, it gains 1,000 attack for each Synchro, Xyz, and Link monster used as material until the end of the next turn. You can only use each of the effects of Axon Kicker Oracle once per turn. When your opponent would special summon a monster, quick effect, you can negate the summon. If you do, banish that monster. If this fusion summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish one teleport, normal, or quick play spell from your graveyard, special summon this card. So you play 2 of those, so it has a chance to come back. Very annoying card, very big, can negate summons. Now the unfortunate part of this card and Ceravis is that they both negate inherent summons, but like they don't universally stop any special summon. It's like a particular category of them. So it's not this universal no button like I'd like it to be. Next, this engine is kind of silly. I just like these cards a lot, and they might not even fit the best in this deck, but you'll understand the synergy to a degree. It is the Metal Foe monsters. This is the Pendulum archetype that I recommend people play if they've never played Pendulum before. They are very fun. So you have these 4 normal monsters and the 2 effect ones. All of them share the effect in the Pendulum Zone that if you have a face-up card in the field, you can destroy it to set a Metal Foe spell or trap from your deck to the field. And there are a lot of fodder cards that you can pop in this archetype. For example, the Punk Field spell. After you've drawn cards with it, you're probably done with it for the whole duel, so you can pop it to replace it with a more useful card. Cursed Eldland after you're done using it. You can pop a Voiceless Voice continuous spell. You can pop a Starry Night continuous card. A lot of these will fulfill their usefulness after you've done them initially, and then you can just replace them with cards you actually want to see. Melcaster and Bismugear are more advantage cards. Their monster effects get you a Metal Foe to your hand when they are destroyed. Bismugear has to wait till the end of the turn, but can get it from deck. Melcaster can get it from your face-up extra deck, but it is immediate. You just can't use the effects of that card during that turn. The cards that you are setting through your deck are Parametal Foe Fusion. So let me get it out of the player. They are Parametalfoe Fusion, obviously the OG Metalfoe Fusion, and I'm not playing Full Metalfoe Fusion. I'm not playing Full Metalfoe Fusion. Tongue twister. I'm not playing Full Metalfoe Fusion. That is a quick play spell, and what ends up happening a lot of the time is I want to actually make a proactive play, but then I end up setting Full Metalfoe Fusion, which can't be activated during that turn because of quick play spell rules. Metalfoe Fusion in particular goes super, super good with White Forest cards and Eldritch. Because it is a spell card that you can send to graveyard to activate their effects, and then it instantly nets you another card by shuffling back into the deck, meaning it's always live for your Metalfoe monsters, and very rarely do you see spell cards get banished. And the trap cards that we're setting are Counter, which anytime a monster is destroyed, you can play this, special summon a Metalfoe from your deck, and if it's in your graveyard, you can banish it to return a Metalfoe from your face-up extra deck back to your hand, which gives the cards more longevity. And Metalfoe Combination is really good. Its continuous effect that actually activates with fusion monsters doesn't come up often. You're mostly going to be using this to send it to the graveyard with Eldritch or a White Forest card to get a free search for a Metalfoe monster from your deck. So there's that. You don't really pendulum summon very often in this. I think you need to play more pendulum cards in this deck in order to see that happen more frequently. But you do get to play this guy, Orichalc, and Mithrilium. I'm not playing Alcahest, I'm not playing any of the other fusions, I'm just playing these two. I think these two are the most impactful ones that you play most often, and Mithrilium really is the important one. You just need a second target. The big Crusadia monster that we're playing is Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax. We're not playing Maximus. I think Maximus is the Link 3. Avermax has a lot of built-in protection effects that can make him more formidable for the opponent to get over. This is why I was saying to play Power over the field spell. Power can protect this from the stuff that it doesn't protect itself against. We can't do the cheesy IP Masquerena combo with it in this deck. My domain does not allow for that combo. I definitely would be playing it if that was possible. It's one of my favorite things to do. But yeah, very cool card. It buffs itself when it battles any special summon monster from the extra deck, so it will always win those fights. It can't be targeted by card effects, so the only way your opponent can destroy it is non-targeting destruction, banishing, whatever. It has to be a non-targeting effect. The last two extra deck slots that I have that support that are Silhat Rabbit. This card is awesome. Silhat Rabbit lets you set a trap card that can be special summoned as a monster from your deck, which is the 2/3 Golden Land cards that I have in this deck from the Eldritch stuff earlier. Setting those from deck with Silhat also means that, let's say you don't even have Eldritch stuff live in your hand, you can set it and then trigger a White Forest monster in your hand instead and send them to the graveyard and all that. So very cool card. The other one is Lina. This isn't the most powerful pick. You might be able to get a monster from the opponent's graveyard sometimes, but for the most part, Lina is just a very generic, easy Link monster to go into, so you can keep Link climbing into Avermax. I found a lot of the time that I would want to go into Avermax, but the Link monsters I had available just were not generic enough. So this is what I have in here for now, but it could probably be better. And then the final portions of this deck. Generic spells and traps. We have Last Will, which can summon any monster straight from the deck to the field that is 1500 or less if a monster was sent to the graveyard during this turn. And definitely that's going to happen. I love this card in this deck specifically because you have so many engines in here. Yeah, just there's lots of choices in flexibility in where you want to take combos when you play Last Will. So, very cool. We have Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed, Painful Choice, Pot of Avarice, Forbidden Droplet, Harpy's Feather Duster, Graceful Charity, Change of Heart. None of these, I think, really require much explanation. Droplet is more and more, the more I play Yu-Gi-Oh!, I think Droplet is just a card that, like, is so important to play in just about anything. If you have cards that you want to send to the graveyard, you play Droplet. If you want a roundabout way to interrupt an opponent to make sure that they can't do something to you, this card has the potential to stop them from responding to you. It has the potential to debuff their plays. It's just a really, really solid, well-rounded card, and I definitely recommend playing Droplet in anything that has even slight synergy with it. Avarice is really important. You want to play recycling cards in Domain to the best of your ability. Avarice is a good way to do that. But overall, that is the deck. That is what I built and played. And you actually, if you watch Nova's recent upload, the Domain Format Explained video, you can see me at the very beginning, different pyramid mat. I was playing on a punk mat. You can see that's my hand there in that part of the video doing some of these combos. Do you have any suggestions or critiques? Do you have any additions to what I should do to this deck? What would you do to it? What are some synergies that you could throw in here to emphasize the light and psychic direction it's in? What engines would you cut? I do personally think, as much as I like Metal Foe, it's a large commitment for not a lot of payoff compared to some of the other archetypes in here. I think you could probably make a whole deck around the Voiceless Voice Starry Night synergy and just add even more cards that lean into that part of it. The extra deck space is really tight, really tight. That was 15 cards, and I just didn't really find room to be able to fit a lot of stuff. I had to cut a lot of monsters that I wanted to include in here. Thank y'all for tuning in. This was really fun to put together. I'm going to be building a lot more Domain decks and sharing them in the future. I'm back, by the way. This is not just like a one and done. I actually am back. I'm editing another video as we speak that I'm very excited to put out. Card Market is coming out with another Domain video in a couple days. I think it's tomorrow, actually. I don't know when I'm uploading this. Just stay tuned. If you want Domain, if you want Pokemon, any of that stuff, I got you covered. Have a good one, people. Peace.